Hello. As summer draws near and the club season gets closer, I'm sure everybody's looking to get out throwing more often and looking for the best way to improve their game. One thing I always see recommended for people to do is to take a throwing program written by someone who knows what they're talking about. And one of the most popular versions of this is the Ben Wiggins Zen Throwing routine. It's available on Sky magazine. You can see it's published November 2011, so 12 years ago nearly. And for those 12 years it's been incredibly popular. I'm going to go through today and I'm going to rank all the exercises that it suggests to do. I'm going to tier them. Purpose of this is to give a vehicle for discussing what I think is good here and what we can improve on when we go out throwing ourselves. For the younger viewers among you who may not know who Ben Wiggins is, Ben was one of the greatest players to come out of Seattle. He played and coached for Seattle Sockeye for many years. When I was a young player, I think back in 2010, had the great fortune to attend a few training sessions run by Ben Wiggins because he came to Ireland with a couple of other Sockeye guys and did a couple of clinics in Dublin and in Limerick. I still remember loads of the things that he went through in those sessions, and they were a great foundation for me. So I have the utmost respect for Ben. If he does see this, I hope he doesn't mind me picking some holes in some of these. If I'm criticizing these, not to say that they're not worthwhile things to do. I'm a big fan of having a set throwing routine like this. If you're working during the day and you just want to get in the evenings and kind of get some good reps in and do something reliable that you know has worked for other people, the Wiggins Zen Throwing routine is a great way to do it. Obviously, ideally, you'd be doing a totally customized throwing routine for yourself and be working on all your weaknesses and all your strengths in the most effective and efficient way for you, but that's not always possible. So a good throwing routine like this is the next best thing. Okay, so let's jump in. First one, warm-up littles. So an easy lap, right? Just throwing field aside, jog while throwing back and forward less than 5 yards. I mean, do it if you want. I don't think this is really necessary. Do whatever warm-up you like. Don't do this at all. If you want to, just jump in number 2 straight away, if that's your preference. So looking at number 2, which is back catches. So for 1 minute, catch a disc on the side disc, either spinning towards you or on the side that's spinning away from you. So the goals here: increase hand quickness and reading the spin of the disc. This is a really good drill. I think most players can benefit it, certainly if you've never done it before, understanding how to read the spin of this coming towards you, so how it's coming out of the thrower's hand, and how it's going to react differently into your hand depending on how it is spinning. Sort of thing you could spend a long time trying to explain. Just go ahead and feel it. It makes a huge difference if you're catching with the correct hand when you can, and just generating that feel. So this A would be S. I think you don't need to do that often. I think once you've kind of got the feel, you can integrate it into pretty much all your catching practice. Wall resets. So for 6 to 8 throws total, pull your throw back to the farthest point that you normally reach and then stop. Look at the angle of the disc. Just angle this to be flat as possible and then throw. So the goal here is to ensure you bring the disc back flat, so avoid any tilt in your warm-up, in your wind-up. I don't agree with this. So it's fine for short throws. I think for bigger throws, you throw in an arc, essentially. If you are winding up for a full length forehand, you're going to bring the disc up and trying to hold it flat from there. It doesn't make any sense. And then you're going to swing through on an arc. There definitely used to be a feeling that you should try and just go back as straight as possible and as flat as possible, and basically try and keep everything on a flat horizontal plane. Again, watch the best throwers throw particular forehands. You're going to see a good bit of movement up and arcing through, because that's the best way to generate power, and the disc is going to even out. So I think it's fine to have that arc in your throw. Backhand reminders, 4 to 5 total throws. While stepping throw your backhand, have your partner hold up a number of fingers in your hands that's further from your backhand side. Call out the number before your throw. So just trying to address the problem that when you're stepping and throw backhand, you will quite naturally dip your head away from where you're throwing to, so you can lose sight of the field, and if someone breaks off their cut and you're stepping out to throw it, that can lead to turnovers. I'm sure we've all been there. Yeah, I think if you're always throwing your backhand completely blind, this is a great way to fix that issue. It's fine. It's a B. Strobe catches for 1 minute while receiving. Blink eyes rapidly as possible. So hone catching anticipation reflexes. Yeah, so not occlusion work is really good. I think it's trying to simulate occlusion work for catching, which just definitely does work. So I don't hate it. I don't think it's that practical in reality, particularly when doing it for 1 minute. If you do have the funds, you can get very fancy occlusion goggles, which will do this for you. It will just strobe whatever rate you want, so you're picking up less information. Really good way to train your brain to work well with less information, but actually just trying to do it by blinking rapidly. If it works for you, it works for you. It won't work for me. Holding, the hardest one. So this is to do for 2 or 3 minutes, about 10 to 15 throws. So you wind up any throw, and when you get to the point at which you will only go forward. So again, if I'm winding up my forehand, stopping when I get to the full wind up point. Yeah, stopping and only stopping, waiting for 5 or 6 seconds, counting aloud, and then only moving forward. So don't wind it up anymore. So he says, first goal, develop patience. The throw rate doesn't mean it's the correct time to throw. Yeah, I don't really understand that point. I don't know how long you can hold a throw waiting for it to appear without a defender stopping you from throwing it. Second goal is to learn to throw without being tied to your wind up, which allows for more versatility of timing. See, I understand what he means here. I would prefer to generate this by kind of waiting longer rather than winding up and then stopping and then throwing. We have examples. People that only throw when they include their usual wind up as part of the throw. Yeah, I just don't think the solution is do your wind up and then stop your wind up and then throw. I think it's learn to throw without as much of a wind up. Maybe I'm completely misunderstanding this, but put it in C. Rainbows. So less than 1 minute, throw straight blades to your partner, aiming for the collarbone. Try throw high enough that the disc leaves your field of vision. Throw using your wrists as much as possible rather than using your legs. Up level catch on the top of the disc. I love this. Is this going in A? It's probably going in A. Yeah, I think this is great. It's a really good way to develop the wrist coordination. It really forces you to throw a flick motion with no wobble, essentially, which is brilliant. And there's another really good way to do this yourself at home. Just lie flat on the floor, throw a blade straight up at the ceiling above you, and have it come down back into your hand where you released it, basically. So you're trying to get as close to the ceiling as possible to hitting the ceiling, because that's obviously not going to end very well. I take no responsibility if you break anything doing that, but it is a very, very good drill. So is this one as well. The advantage with this one over the one at home is you can throw it a lot harder, which is great. Single leg throws for 4 minutes. Balance on the opposite leg from throwing hand. So I am throwing my right hand, so I would on your pivot foot, throwing either forehands or backhands. If you complete a throw back up a step, coordinate with your partner and do forehands first. And once you try this, a couple of sessions corresponds to your accurate throwing range in games. Stay balanced with 3 or 4 throws at a time, including the catch. Use fakes at losing balance. The goal here is to smooth out your throwing motion by eliminating body torque and legs, improve carries and core. I don't agree with this again. So there is very, very valid reasons to improve your single leg throws. Maybe if I'm smart, I can edit in the clip of Ferdy or Rogers throwing off one leg in the Euros final. So sometimes in a game, yeah, you benefit from breaking the mark by being able to throw very quickly, right? Basically planting your non-pivot foot down while you're still moving. So that's definitely a very valid skill to practice. This isn't the same thing. This is just trying to isolate your core and your arms and stuff. Throwing with your throwing using the ground is the best way to throw. I think you should teach yourself to do it. I think you could maybe do a good version of this where you throw single leg and alternate every throw with putting your foot on the ground and feeling how much easier it is to throw using your legs and getting your hips involved and kind of using your full chain to throw even short throws. Using that. I wouldn't deliberately practice throwing without that. I think you're more likely to develop kind of bad compensations rather than getting any benefit from it. Okay, so I put that into C. So the arc, place feet shoulder width apart, throw backhand starting very low and inside out. Throw from a slightly raised angle until you're throwing nearly vertical disc from a high position. Try to locate each throw to the same region apart. Torso, imagine Leonardo's human physiology sketches with a disc in each hand. The goal here, develop comfortable, accurate and strength in small angle changes without compensating with legs or power. So this is kind of tapping into differential learning. So this is pretty good. Yeah, I like this. So one of the best ways to generate kind of comfort and knowledge of the angle of the disc is to throw from as many different angles as possible and to kind of figure out how you move your body to generate those different angles. I don't think I do it exactly how it's suggested here. It seems to be suggesting doing without using your body. I think you should use your body to generate the angle of the disc more than you should use your hand to generate the wrist to generate the angle of the disc. But absolutely, yeah, practicing throwing kind of all across the arc, all the different ranges of angles is a brilliant thing to do. And if you don't do it, you should definitely do it, because it will help you problem solve in games. If your throws are coming out differently than you expect or you normally expect, you're kind of able to assess what you need to do with your body. Okay, so number 10 is the R and D throw, which basically is something like whatever you want, something that you need to work on. I mean, that's fine. I can't argue it. I just think, like I said, the value of this sort of throwing routine is it's kind of brainless. It's brainless in that you're not having to think of what you're doing. I would prefer you did all your throwing sessions as like this R&D throw, where you're kind of figuring out what you need to practice and working on it. Doing this for just 1 minute in the middle of the throwing session. Maybe after a long day of work, 1 minute is all you can really think of, and that's fine. Number 11 is throw hard. So for 1 minute, throw as hard as you can at any distance. So it's pointing to 3 goals here, which seems a lot of goals for a 1 minute exercise. First goal, smooth out longer throw mechanics. Your hitches can solve themselves when your body's moving too quickly to be included. So this is true. If you do something, if you challenge your body to move as readily as possible, quite often your sequencing of how your body gets involved will improve rather than trying to do it slowly. So yeah, that definitely works. Second is be confident with a fast disc, catching a fast disc basically. I think it's actually only 2 goals here, so that's good. 1 throwing, 1 catching one. So yeah, I really like this. I think it's a great exercise. I'm going to put in A. Quiet catches. I don't really need to read it. I know I love this. Okay, so for 1 minute, catch with as little noise as possible, even when throwing hard. So you can just continue the last exercise, I guess, and do this as well. May help to extend the arms and catch up towards your body. So one of the biggest things that separates good catchers from bad catchers is soft hands. So by that, your hands are pliable and ready to make adjustments as the disc comes into them, as opposed to being like rigid. As the disc hits them, disc can easily just bounce off it, or if it moves slightly in the air, or you didn't put your hand in the exact right position, it's just going to bounce off. Soft hands will change your catching ability. So yeah, this is just brilliant. Just do it. Line dancing. Straddle a line while throwing with your partner just before catching. Move your feet so you're in on one side of the line. So basically you're practicing your towing in here. You can do it where like you're standing on both sides of the line and your partner tells you which side you should be in. Okay, so he's saying you want to use this for practicing your throws close to the line. Okay, interesting. I would use this to practice towing in catches. If on that basis, I would give this an S. On the throwing basis, I'd probably give it an A or a B. Yeah. Oh, I don't think he's actually saying expert line catches. Okay, so yeah, catching drill, fantastic. Yeah, I would do this like every time I was throwing with someone and there was a line nearby and the throw went near the line. Towing catches win championships. Target throwing. Partner puts up one hand target, try to hit that target. I don't really understand this bit about the misses, so I'm ignoring it. So the goal is to simulate throwing to smaller targets to increase accuracy. So again, I really like this. Give it an A. One of the big weaknesses with partner throwing like this is the range of catching, and the target is too artificial, it's too big. And what I mean by that is, firstly, I've seen a game, you're very throwing to someone who's standing still, but if I'm throwing like a 20-meter throw to someone who is standing still, practicing, like if they take 2 steps to their left, which is quite an easy adjustment, they cover a ton of ground basically, which is a way bigger target area than you're going to have in games. So absolutely saying like you have to throw to my right hand is like a much better target to try and hit. You're obviously not going to hit it every time, but much better, as it says here. Throwing to the non-guarded side of a player as well, so it's a very useful visualization. Be able to, not to say I want to throw to my partner, but I want to be able to throw to this position, which solves some of the problems of just like the sort of static partner throwing. Okay, late eye pickups. For 1 minute, throw to a partner that's standing eyes closed or facing away from you. About a third away through the flight disc, say now. Then progressively give less time to find the disc. Yeah, so this is brilliant. You might notice that all my S and most of my A's, no, not just one of my A's, are catching drills. Catching is really important. Yeah, this is another really good catching drill. I think this is a better version of the occlusion drill that I mean, it's not quite the same, obviously, but this is a very good scenario for a game. Again, one of the weaknesses partner throwing. Partner catching in this instance is obviously you get to see the flight path of the disc the whole way and you're very in control, which is both quite easy and quite boring. And I find a lot of players actually develop bad catching habits doing a lot of partner throwing bits because you get really lazy and sloppy, because it's actually just, it's too easy, and then you end up making those silly mistakes. So this is a good way to not do that. Yeah, just learning to pick the disc up late in the flight, which obviously in a game, if you're coming away from the thrower, you're not seeing the disc for the entire flight path, so it's very important that you're able to pick up the flight path from very little information. So yeah, fantastic drill. Full power wind-ups. Wind up for each throw as if you're throwing as hard and far as you can, but then only throw 10 yards or so. Try and throw smoothly. So test and prove the efficiency and smoothness of your release by combining maximum movement with a minimally stabilized disc. Don't think I love this. I'm trying to visualize like why I would even want my body to do this. Obviously, if I'm throwing 10 yards, I'm not taking a full wind up. I guess if I'm winding up for a hook, if someone breaks off the cut and I see someone open right in front of me, I might want to do that. Yeah, not the biggest fan of this one. Okay, 17 is catch and release longer than normal distance. Catch and throw as quick as possible. You can also do it when your partner is telling you what throw you need to throw. Yeah, really like this. I've given an S tier. Yeah, so everything he says here is right in the goals, but again, it's countering some of the disadvantages of like this sort of two-person partner throwing, where it's just very static, overly controlled. This removes a lot of control from you. I think if you did it like 1 minute and 1 minute, and you're trying to get to a target throwing like a amount of throws, like 10 to 15 throws in that 1 minute between the pair of you, I think that would be like a really good way to challenge yourself, and really good for kind of really honing your technique. So yeah, this is a great one. Number 18, at any distance, try to throw with touch. Throws will land very close to your partner's feet, so like they just travel that distance. Especially hooks, droning the tilted disc at the end of the throw. Okay, it's fine. That's really all I have to say about it. Off leg pivots. So for 2 minutes, with the disc in your off hand, pivot low, powerfully on your non-throwing leg, or just pivot 3 to 4 sets of 12 to 16 pivots. Okay, so it's obviously trying to counter sort of asymmetry in the way we throw, which obviously you pivot on the same leg all the time and not the other one. I think you can fix this better by practicing better, to be honest. I don't think this one, I just think this is a bit of a gimmick. I think if you train through gameplay as much as possible, you don't really, and you're doing your strength or conditioning work, you don't really run into those asymmetry problems. These asymmetry problems will come if you are, first, if you're grinding hard, trying to throw like an hour every day, static, just repetitive motion. But I mean, doing anything like that is just gonna hurt you. But if your team practices are also a lot of like drills where you're standing there pivoting and then you do one cut and then you're standing there pivoting again, you're kind of reinforcing the asymmetry. But if you're training through gameplay and you're just doing your throwing as I guess accessories to that, your static throwing is accessories to that, I just don't think you need to do this at all. Alright, 20, dishes. So from 2 yards apart, throw very short throws with a variety of angles, including push passes, forehands, backhands. Use your offhand as well. You can also throw in the same grip you catch with and increase the speed as more of a challenge. I think 2 yards is a little short. That's my only criticism here. I think you can extend that range a little bit. Otherwise, yeah, do this. Like through those short, quick catches and throws. Great for your catching, great for your throwing, great for your creativity. Yeah, just do it. It's brilliant. Okay, finally, number 21. Catch reverts. On each catch, look the disc all the way into your hands and pause until your eyes refocus on the disc. Don't move to throw until you're completely focused, 1 or 2 seconds. Mind your body needs to emphasize watching the disc into your hands as far as possible. Yeah, I guess this exaggeration can help you kind of concentrate on the disc. It's not like a habit I want to build, obviously. Yeah, I'll put it in C. I think, yeah, totally fine to do a few times. It's not going to hurt you, obviously. It's going to help you concentrate on your catching a little bit, but it is a bit overly emphasized. It's a bit over exaggerated for my liking, so I wouldn't really do too much of this. So those are my thoughts on the Zen throwing routine exercises. So I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for staying around to watch and listen to my thoughts. Obviously, I'm just a guy sitting in my office criticizing some of these throwing drills. If it's something that you do and you enjoy doing them and you feel like you can value out of them, you probably are. Keep doing them. I'm not suggesting you don't do them. And like I said, these throwing drills, Lou Burris's ninja throwing is another one from around the same time period that I think are really excellent and just great ways to have a good solid throwing routine that someone else has written for you, and you can just go and implement it. You don't have to think too much about it. Ideally, you'll supplement that with kind of more targeted work at your own strengths and weaknesses. But yeah, if you want to go out on a Tuesday evening with a friend for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, this is a great way to do it. You can look to improve them. I've suggested a few little improvements here and there, so you can look to build that in if you want. But otherwise, thanks for watching. I'd love to hear your feedback and comments. If you think I'm way off base on any of the criticisms I have, more than happy to hear it. Thanks for watching.